My name is Daniel, and I'm just a simple farmer. Life has never given me much, but whatever little I had, I always tried to be grateful for it. Maybe that's why, when life finally handed me something extraordinary, I didn't even realize what it was. And that mistake changed everything. That morning felt different. The air was cooler than usual, but there was also a strange silence. Like the itself was hiding a secret beneath it. I woke up early, just like every other day, and walked toward my fields. The sun hadn't fully risen yet, and the soil was still slightly damp. In my hands, I held my shovel. In my mind, there was only one thought: I need to work harder today. Life had never been easy for me. A small piece of land, an old broken house, and a few animals. That was my entire world. Sometimes I used to dream, what if I had enough money to build a proper home for my mother? But then I would laugh at myself. Dreams like that don't come true for people like me. I started digging, slowly, carefully, with full focus. Every time my shovel hit the ground, the smell of fresh soil filled the air. That smell always gave me peace, but that day, something unexpected was waiting for me. Suddenly, clang. My shovel hit something hard. I froze. At first, I thought it was just a rock, but the sound, it wasn't normal. It was sharper, heavier. I bent down and started clearing the dirt with my hands. My heartbeat got a little faster. I didn't know why. Then I saw it, a faint shine, buried under the soil. Something is there, I whispered to myself. I started digging faster now, my hands moving almost nervously. Within a few moments, something unusual appeared in front of me. It looked like a brick, but it wasn't an ordinary brick. It was golden. Yes, a golden brick. I carefully picked it up. It was heavy, much heavier than I expected, cold to the touch. The early sunlight hit its surface, and it reflected a strange, powerful glow. I don't understand, I muttered. I had never seen real gold this close before. To me, it was just a strange, heavy, shiny object. I turned it over in my hands. It was covered in dirt, but even then, it looked valuable. Maybe it's just something old, I said, trying to convince myself. My mind didn't go very far. I wasn't an educated man. I didn't know how to recognize valuable things. For me, survival was everything. Still, something inside me felt uneasy. What if this is something important? The thought came, but I pushed it away almost instantly. Don't overthink, Daniel, I told myself. You don't know anything about these things. I slipped the golden brick into my pocket and continued working. But to be honest, my focus was gone. Again and again, my hand moved toward my pocket. I could feel its weight, silent, heavy, like it was hiding a secret. By noon, I gave up working. My heart just wasn't in it anymore. I went back home, drank some water, and took the object out again. This time, I cleaned it properly. As the dirt came off, my eyes froze. It really looked like gold. Clean, shiny, solid. For a moment, I couldn't breathe properly. How is this possible? I whispered. How could something like this come into the hands of someone like me? Life had never given me anything big before, so why now? I thought about asking someone, but then fear took over. What if people laughed at me? What if someone tried to take it from me? I was a simple man, and honestly, a bit afraid of people. So I chose the easiest option. At the edge of the village, there was a scrap dealer, a kabaddi. People sold him old metal, broken tools, useless items, sometimes even strange objects. I thought to myself, if this is valuable, he'll tell me. If not, I'll just take whatever money he gives. Without thinking too much, I wrapped the golden brick in a cloth and started walking toward his shop. The distance wasn't long, but that day, every step felt heavy. There was something strange inside me, a mix of excitement and fear, like I was about to make a decision that could change my life. But I didn't know that I was actually walking toward the biggest mistake of my life. I reached the shop. The scrap dealer looked at me and smiled. Daniel, what have you brought today? He asked casually. I hesitated for a moment, then slowly opened the cloth. And placed the golden brick in front of him. For a split second, a strange expression crossed his face. At that time, I didn't understand it, but today, I know exactly what it was. It wasn't surprise. It was greed. And I was too simple to see the difference. I still remember the way he looked at that brick. At the time, I thought he was just curious, maybe even a little impressed. But now, when I think about it, I realized something else was hiding in his eyes. Calculation. Greed. Opportunity. He quickly picked up the brick, pretending to examine it casually, like it was nothing special. He flipped it in his hands, knocked on it lightly, even scratched its surface a little. He murmured. I stood there quietly, waiting. My heart was beating faster now. I didn't know what I wanted him to say. Maybe I just wanted confirmation that this strange thing I had found actually meant something. So, Daniel, he finally said, looking at me with a half smile, where did you find this? In my field, I replied honestly. While digging? He nodded slowly, as if that explained everything. Ah, makes sense. Old land, old things buried in it, he said. Then he placed the brick back on the table. A little too casually. It's nothing special, he added. Those words should have made me feel relieved, but instead, something inside me felt strange. Nothing special. I repeated. He shrugged. Just some kind of metal. Maybe brass. Maybe something mixed. It looks shiny, that's all. People get confused. I stared at the brick. Just metal. A part of me wanted to believe him. After all, he dealt with these things every day. What did I know? But another part of me, the quiet voice inside, wasn't fully convinced. It's heavy, I said slowly. He laughed. Of course it is. Dense metals are heavy. That doesn't mean it's valuable. He leaned forward slightly. Listen, Daniel, I'll be honest with you. It's not worth much, but I can still give you something for it. Just so you don't go empty-handed. I stayed silent. My eyes moved from him to the brick and back to him again. How much? I asked. He paused for a second. That pause. I understand it now. Back then, I didn't. He was deciding how little he could give me without raising suspicion. I can give you, he said slowly, pretending to think. $20. Double quotes $20. For a moment, the number echoed in my mind. $20 wasn't nothing for me. It could buy food, maybe some tools, maybe even fix a part of the house. But still, for something like this, I don't know, I said hesitantly. He noticed, and that's when his tone changed slightly. Look, Daniel, he said, leaning back, I'm actually being generous. Honestly, this kind of thing usually has no value. I'm taking a risk here. A risk. The word made me uncomfortable. What kind of risk? I asked. Well, he said, lowering his voice a little, what if it's useless? What if I can't sell it? Then I lose money. That made sense. At least to me at the time. I wasn't used to thinking deeply about these things. I just wanted to make the right decision. Quickly, he saw that I was still unsure. So he made his final move. All right, he said with a sigh. I'll make it 30. That's my final offer. $30. He said it like he was doing me a favor. Like he was helping me. Like I should feel lucky. And maybe that's exactly what I felt. Lucky. I looked at the brick one last time. It sat there silently, as if waiting. As if it wanted me to understand something. But I didn't. I wish I had. I really do. But I didn't. Okay, I said. Just one word. And with that, everything changed. He smiled immediately. Too quickly. Good decision, he said. He reached into his drawer, pulled out some cash, and handed it to me. I took the money, $30, and held it tightly in my hand. It felt real. Certain. Safe. Unlike that strange golden brick, which felt confusing. Uncertain. He quickly wrapped the brick and moved it aside, almost as if he didn't want me to look at it anymore. Pleasure doing business with you, Daniel, he said. I nodded. Double quotes thank you, I replied. And then, I walked away. I remember stepping out of that shop, the sunlight hitting my face. For a brief moment, I felt good. I had turned something unknown into money. Something useless into something useful. At least, that's what I believed. On the way home, I even started planning. Maybe I could buy better seeds. Maybe fix the roof. Maybe bring something nice for my mother. For a few hours, I was happy, peaceful, satisfied. But sometimes, life doesn't punish you immediately. Sometimes, it waits. That evening, everything changed. I was sitting outside my house when my neighbor, an older man named Harris, walked by. He had lived in the village his entire life and knew a lot more than most of us. He noticed the money in my hand. Daniel, he said, what's the occasion? I smiled. Sold something I found in the field, I replied casually. Oh, he said, raising an eyebrow. What did you find? I hesitated for a moment, then answered. A brick, a golden one. He stopped walking, completely. Golden? He repeated slowly. Something in his voice made my smile fade. Yes, I said, but it wasn't real, just some metal. I sold it to the scrap dealer. For a few seconds, he didn't say anything. He just stared at me. And then Daniel, he said quietly, tell me exactly what it looked like. And suddenly, for the first time that day, I felt something I hadn't felt before. Real doubt. Daniel, tell me exactly what it looked like. Harris's voice was no longer calm. It carried weight. Urgency. My fingers were still holding the $30. But strangely, the money didn't feel real anymore. It was like a brick, I said slowly. Long, solid, completely golden, and heavy. Very heavy. Harris exhaled sharply. How heavy? He asked immediately. Much heavier than a normal brick, I replied. He stared at me for a moment. Daniel, did it have any markings? Numbers, symbols? I tried to remember. Maybe. I didn't look carefully. That was enough. Harris closed his eyes for a second. Oh no, he whispered. My heart skipped. What? What is it? I asked, suddenly worried. He stepped closer. Daniel, how much did you sell it for? $30, I said quietly. Silence. A long, heavy silence. Then he spoke slowly, clearly. Daniel, you sold gold. For a moment, I couldn't understand his words. What? Pure gold, he said firmly. And if it was as heavy as you say, it wasn't just gold. It was a gold bar. My body went cold. No, that's not possible, I said quickly. He told me it was just metal. Nothing valuable. Harris looked angry now. Of course he said that. He is a scrap dealer, Daniel. That's how they operate. They confuse people. They take advantage of them. My mind started spinning. But how was I supposed to know? I said weakly. You were supposed to ask someone who knows, he snapped. A jeweler. Anyone. Every word felt like a strike to my chest. I looked down at my hands. $30. That was all I had now. So, how much was it worth? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Harris didn't answer immediately. He hesitated, as if even saying it would hurt. Thousands, he finally said. Maybe more. Thousands. The word echoed inside my head. Thousands of dollars. A new house for my mother, a better life, everything I had ever dreamed of. It had all been in my hands. And I sold it for $30. My vision blurred slightly. What have I done? I whispered. Harris grabbed my arm. Come on. We're going back to him. Right now. Hope flickered inside me. Maybe it's a misunderstanding, I said quickly. Maybe he'll return it, but deep inside, I already knew. We rushed back toward the scrap shop. My steps were fast, but my heart was faster. Every second felt heavier than the last. When we reached the shop, my stomach dropped. The shop was half closed. The front door was locked. This is strange, I muttered. He never closes this early. Harris pointed behind the shop. Let's check there. We moved quickly. Behind the shop, the back gate was slightly open. My heart started pounding. We stepped inside, and what I saw made everything clear. The scrap dealer was packing his things quickly. Boxes, bags, metal scraps. He was leaving. Running. And on the ground, a piece of cloth. The same cloth I had wrapped the golden brick in. My breath stopped. He's escaping, I whispered. Harris shouted immediately. Hey! The man turned around. For a split second, his face showed shock. Then instantly, he smiled. Daniel, back so soon, he said casually. What happened? I stepped forward. My voice shook. That brick. I want it back. He tilted his head. Which brick? That moment, everything inside me collapsed, because I finally understood. This wasn't a mistake. It was a trap, and I was the easiest target in it. For a moment, nobody spoke. The scrap dealer just stood there, pretending to look confused. But his eyes were different now. The mask was slipping. Which brick? He repeated again, acting innocent. Harris stepped forward. Don't play games, he said firmly. You know exactly what we're talking about. The man sighed, as if he was tired of the conversation. Then he slowly crossed his arms. I don't know what you're imagining, he said calmly. Daniel brought me a piece of scrap metal. I gave him fair money for it. That's all. Fair money. The words hit me like a joke. My hands started shaking. That wasn't scrap, I said quietly. It was gold. You knew it. For a second, his expression changed. Just a flicker. Then it disappeared again. He shrugged. Gold. If it was gold, why did I pay so little? Think, Daniel. That confused me for a moment. And that's exactly what he wanted. Harris didn't fall for it. You're lying, Harris said coldly. And you're trying to run away. The man's smile faded slightly. Run away. He repeated. I'm just closing my shop. He turned toward the boxes again, acting busy. But I noticed something now. The urgency. The packed bags. The locked front door. He wasn't closing. He was escaping. And suddenly, anger replaced my confusion. You tricked me, I said, my voice rising. You knew what it was. The man stopped moving. Slowly, he turned around. For the first time, there was no pretending. Listen, he said flatly, life is like this. You found something. I bought it. Deal is done. That's theft. Harris snapped. The man laughed lightly. No, he said. That's business. Silence fell again. But this silence felt dangerous. My chest was tight. My thoughts were spinning. Everything I had dreamed of. Gone. And the worst part, it wasn't lost. It was stolen. Right in front of me. I stepped forward. I want it back, I said again. My voice wasn't strong, but it was honest. The man looked at me for a long moment. Then he shook his head. It's gone, he said simply. My stomach dropped. Gone where? I asked quickly. He pointed vaguely behind him. Somewhere safer than your hands. Harris moved closer, anger rising. You're going to regret this, he warned. But the man didn't look afraid. Instead, he looked calm. And then he said something that froze me completely. If you had known what you were holding, you wouldn't have survived long enough to sell it. I didn't understand at first. What do you mean? I asked. He looked at me directly. And for the first time, his voice dropped. That wasn't just gold, Daniel. Pause. It was part of something bigger. My heart stopped. What? Bigger? But he didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed his bag and walked toward the back exit. Harris tried to stop him. Don't move. But the man was already gone. By the time we reached the gate, he had disappeared into the narrow streets, leaving only silence behind, and a truth I couldn't yet understand. Harris turned to me slowly. This is not over, he said. Not even close. I stood there, empty. Handed $30 in my pocket. And a question in my mind that wouldn't go away. What did I really find in my field? And why did it feel like I had just stepped into something far bigger than me?